everybody, and welcome to a very special channel announcement and update video. I am super happy to say that I have hit 5,000 subscribers here on YouTube. I never thought that I would be able to get this far all those years ago when I started, and it's really surreal, frankly. I have you guys to thank exclusively for it, for all of you guys watching my videos, commenting on everything, giving me suggestions for games and videos, and my channel itself, and all sorts of other different stuff. You guys have helped me immensely and honestly have kept me wanting to do this. I do intend to keep on doing it as well, so please stick around because I will be here for the foreseeable future at least. That said, I did also mention that this is a special update as well. I have spent the last few months collecting some trinkets and odds and ends and various things from my childhood as well as from my early days of board gaming that I am excited to show you guys. So essentially what we'll be doing is kind of going around the room a little bit. We're going to start off with some retro consoles that I've got. So if you guys haven't done so, take a look at my Twitch page. On my Twitch page, I've been streaming from some of these older consoles, some of the classic games and all that sort of thing. So I'm super excited to show you guys some of what I've got. All right, so if we just head on over here to the closet, then we'll essentially start from the bottom and work our way up here. So as we start from the bottom, then you can see we've got some stuff that I'm sure you guys will recognize. Some of these are consoles that I already owned that I've just kept for years. Others are ones that I've acquired relatively recently. So over here, I've got my PlayStation 2 system and PlayStation 1, 2, and 3 games in there. It includes all of the classic Final Fantasies, a bunch of tactical games, stuff like that. Over here, my original Xbox system, complete with DDR dance pad, I might add, as well as a bunch of my 360 games. The 360 itself is out in the living room. Over here, my Nintendo Wii with all of my Wii and Wii U games. The Wii U system is again out in the living room because we use it on occasion. Over here, the Nintendo GameCube, complete with the Game Boy Advance adapter cable for Legend of Zelda 4 Swords. I've got all of the Mario games, the Mario Sunshine, Wind Waker, Beautiful Joe, all of those super fun and awesome games. So essentially that ends the portion that I had already owned. Everything from here on out is stuff that I have relatively recently acquired. I've been working at this for a few months, like I said. So starting over here, we've got Atari 2600. Now, I actually have two consoles of Atari 2600 in here. One of them is the 4-switch version, the other one is the 6-switch. Both of them work, which I'm super excited about, and I've got a ton of games for both of them. Some of them are original, complete in box, and some of them are even new in shrink still as well. Very, very exciting. Plus, I've got the paddles, the joysticks, the specialized joysticks, all sorts of stuff. Here, this is just a cartridge cleaning kit. I use this a lot to essentially refurbish some of the games to make sure that they work, get rid of oxidation, all of that kind of stuff. Over here, more Xbox and 360 games. Up here, Super Nintendo. This is the console that I originally got when I was a kid. This was the first console that I had ever owned, and I was actually able to find one to kind of replace it, so to speak. I've got Super Game Boy. I've got the Final Fantasy 2 and 3. I have my favorite game of all time, which is Super Mario Legend of the Seven Stars. I've got Turtles in Time. All sorts of fun games that I absolutely loved when I was a kid. Very excited about it. Up above that, right here is Sega Genesis. So I've got two Sega Genesis systems in there, and they are the second version for those of you who know about them. Essentially, I've got all of the classics there. I've got Sonic 1, 2, and 3, Sonic and Knuckles. I've got Streets of Rage. I've got Mortal Kombat. You know, all sorts of different stuff. I've got The Lion King and Aladdin because you have to have the devastatingly difficult Disney games because that's what they did back then. Over here, this is just some random games that are stored in here, primarily PC games. This is an original Atari game holder. It's broken on one side, so it doesn't work super well, but it does work a little bit. Last but not least are the last two that are up here on the top. So right here, we've got an original Nintendo, an NES. So in addition to the NES itself, it also has a new 72-pin connector inside of it that I installed myself so that it can read the games a lot more easily. It also has a functioning light gun so that I can play Duck Hunt, because why would you have an NES if you're not going to play Duck Hunt? It just doesn't make sense. Last but not least, Nintendo 64, the game system that we all love and that can barely be emulated. I've got 2 of those. I've got Majora's Mask, I've got Ocarina of Time, I've got Paper Mario, I've got Mario Kart, I've got Mario 64, I've got all sorts of great games for it, and I absolutely love playing it. Both of the systems work, all of the games are great after some restoration by me. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. First off is, why are there Nerf guns there? Because Nerf guns are awesome, and it's fun to, you know, go out and have Nerf gun wars because we can't leave the house. Secondly, why is it that you have a light gun when light guns don't work on LCD TVs? Well, to answer that question, we have to kind of roll around here just a touch. So we'll scroll down here so that you guys can actually see some of my massive game collection here. And look what we have there. We have an original CRT TV. This is actually a pretty nice JVC TV. It came out in 2004, so it's relatively new. It works perfectly. It plays Atari all the way up to, you know, PS4 if you really want to, if you want to get the component cables out. But yeah, it works great, and the light gun works on it for Duck Hunt, and I absolutely love it, and it fits really nicely over there. The last thing that I wanted to show you guys is what I am most excited about, though. There's actually 2 things specifically that I want to show you. First off, I want to tell you that my favorite of all of the Legend of Zelda games is Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. And up on the top here, I have hung up, you can see right there. So this, my dear friends, is the original poster that was included in the retail release of Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. It is a map of Hyrule. Specifically, it's a map of the Light World. But I was so happy that I was able to find a complete set. It had the game, it had the manual, and it had the poster. No rips and tears or anything like that. It has some creases, but I don't care about creases because I want my poster. The last thing I want to show you guys is probably what I am most excited about, and that is my little display case that I have right here. So this display case is probably the most special thing that I have ever gotten and ever done and ever been with. This display case has every version of Cosmic Encounter in it. I have spent a long time collecting all of these, and I'm super excited to say that I've finally done it. It goes in order from earliest to latest on the bottom, with of course the crown topper being the 42nd anniversary edition. Now, I have broken a lot of my rules with collecting in this video, whether for video games or for board games, in that I have bought multiple things multiple times, but I don't care because it's worth it for my favorite game of all time. In addition, it's got remote controlled lights and all of the things. So what I'm going to do now is I'll move the camera just a little closer so that you guys can see a little bit better. At each of these levels, what I have set up is the original game with all of the various components as I've got them here. Right, so you can see here, this is the Eon edition. This is the first edition right here. And so we've got the first printing, the second printing, and the third printing of the Eon edition. They came out in the late 70s and then the early 80s respectively. And just down on the shelf here, we've got some of the components set up. Next up, we have the West End Games edition, which is essentially a reprint of the Eon edition. It used the same art and everything. One of the major differences with this particular one being that the card backs are different. So you can see it has kind of a little ship on it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop the camera off because it'll be a little bit easier to see everything as we're going along. So next up, we have Mayfair. So Mayfair is actually the main original one that I personally played. This is what I started playing, and you can see I've got some lucre there. That's what the little yellow tokens are. This also introduced some of the negative values for the attack cards. We have reinforcements, we've got flares, moons, all sorts of different stuff. Last but not least, we do have the Avalon Hill Cosmic Encounter with all of its little plastic pieces in all of its varied glory. So again, I am so excited to have this completed. I am so excited to be able to have this on display. My favorite game of all time, all of the major versions of it. And on top of that, up here, we do have the 42nd anniversary, and we have the official dragon guarding it. And look, I even gave it some lucre, because how else are you going to have a treasure hoard if you don't have any lucre? That said, I will mention that for the Eon Edition, I don't have any of the expansions for it. There's something like 9 expansions for the Eon Edition. So if anybody has any hot tips on anybody who's selling some Eon expansions, I would not mind having them for this particular collection. But that said, that's going to be it for me, you guys. Thank you again so very much for your years and years of being here for and with me, giving me advice and helping me out to find new games and different games and all of that kind of stuff. I am more excited and more happy and more grateful than you could ever possibly know. And on top of that, I am awesomely excited to be able to look at this every single day now, because this has been one of my biggest goals in board gaming ever since I started. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this little tour. Again, check out my Twitch, because I'm streaming a lot on those retro consoles if you'd like to see them. And yeah, thank you guys again. There's just so much awesomeness. 5,000 subscribers. It's incredible. Let's keep going. Let's go to the moon, and let's get more, and let's make some more videos together. Bye everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.